Good morning. Welcome to another Memphis Monday. This week we overhaul a couple of deck rocker chairs. Also, we're going to answer those questions from last week's video. So if you haven't watched last week's video about installing chain link gate fence, watch that video and answer the two questions: what mistake did I make and how did I fix it? All the clues are in that video, and I'm going to give the answer to that mystery today. We also do some planer repairs, and we install a chalk tray on the chalkboard. But man alive, we've written stuff on the board, we've sat around and gabbed, but we're not doing any work. So let's knock off the chatter. Here's the problem. Get to work. My chalkboard doesn't have any place to put my chalk and eraser and all that stuff, one of those little chalk trays. So I need to build a little platform here to put this stuff on. Let's see if we can come up with an answer. I have this piece of cherry, I think it is. It's got some pocket holes in the back of it, and I envision placing it right on that ledge, just like that. Let's see if we can get this finish off of at least two sides of this thing. I got to finish off the wood on two sides anyway. But before we work any more on this, let's go take a look at that planer, because the crank mechanism didn't feel right. This thing is not right. This thing is becoming very difficult to crank up and down. Let's break into it and see what the problem is. Check it out. Man, something's not right. Well, man, that's amazing. It's the first time I've ever had this problem. And we can take the sawdust out, but we've got to ask the question: why is this happening? Now I'm going to put a little oil on this chain. Okay, I cleaned it up, oiled it up. Let's put it back together and see if this piece of scrap through it and see if we can see anything. Okay, I saw something. I'm going to zoom in right in that area right there and run that board through again. Well, that's not very much, but you see I've just put that board through just a few times, and already we got wood chips building up. Let me take that cover off and let's see if we have an obvious problem. That's the place where it was leaking. And the only thing I can find here is these two little twigs. There's that little twig there, and that little twig there. And then right here, there's a little piece of wood stuck underneath this rubber washer. See it right there? Let me pull it out. Okay, let me clean this rubber gasket off and clean the corresponding mating surface on the machine, and we'll see if we get any better results. Let's run this thing through and see if we improved anything. Frankly, that doesn't look any better to me. Let's run a wide board through there and see if we get a whole bunch. I've got this 9.5 inch wide piece of, so let's run this through and see if we get a whole bunch. This is going to be that 9.5 inch wide piece of pecan. Well, here's the scam. You can see that that thing's blowing chips out and blowing the chips out straight back on that back cog right there. I mean, I only ran that board through 3 times. So I think the right thing to do is order a new chip collection cover here. Went in and ordered this shroud. I think I could have ordered just the gasket, but I don't think the gasket is all my problem. I think this thing is warped, and I know it's cracked. It's got a crack right there. So anyway, I got a new one of these, and because of time travel, we should be able to see back to our original project. We can still use that. We can still use that planer if we need to, but I don't think we're going to need it. I've got the router set up with a bullnose bit, and we're going to put 2 grooves like that into our little shelf. What I have, so let's do that now, is I've got the fence set where I want the slots, and I got stop marks at the end where I want them to stop. Okay, what I've done now is replace the bullnose bit with a roundover bit and a round over the edges. Yeah, I got it all clamped up while I put the pocket screws in. I probably didn't need to clamp it, but I wanted to use my new excellent regular pocket screws are self-tapping, but in this oak, I don't want to take any chances, so I'm going to do a little pre-drilling. Oak is real strong, but it cracks and splits like crazy. Actually, that's one of the reasons people like it is firewood, because it splits so easy. Okay, if I recall, we used tung oil on the piece when we made it. Now this is cherry, not oak, so it's not going to look the same, but where it is, it looks okay. Let's get back and look at it a little bit. Put a piece of chalk in it. Okay, you remember last week at the when we installed the gate, in the comments, or whatever there in the narrative, I asked the question, what was the error that I committed? What was my solution? And I'm asking now, did you see it? Let's go out and look at the gate, and I'll show you the solution to the mystery. One of the things I did since last week is I moved the gate off of the post nearest the building and attach it to this more solid post. I got to think it doesn't matter which side I put the hinges on, since it's an inside gate. It doesn't matter. And this pole here that we put in is much stronger than that other pole. Okay, now for the mystery. The error was that I must have mismeasured or made some kind of error, because I made the gap between these 2 poles 2 inches too wide. How I fixed it is I flipped this gate 90 degrees and because it's 44 inches. It's 44 inches one way and it's 46 inches the other way. So by flipping the gate, and I just moved this trim up here on the top. Now you can really tell it the hint or the clue in the video is when I showed this gate. These tensioning rods here were on the sides, not at the top and the bottom. So that was the error, and that was the solution. That little oak table we built some months back, it's outside with plants on it. At least it's being used. Durability test. I'll call it durability. And there's that little dolly. Remember we built that little dolly? We had 3 projects. We fixed a hammer and we worked on the little mobile table, and we built that dolly. That was the purpose of the dolly, to haul those plants around. Let's take a look at the top of that. Okay. This reason you got to be mindful about what uses a project can be put to, because as you recall, or maybe you don't, maybe I'll put a link to when we built this. We finished this thing in shellac, which I like shellac because it dries real quick and it's a real nice finish. But shellac is not weatherproof at all. Water dissolves it, and so you can see this table's only been out here for a couple of months, and already the shellac is getting eaten up. Well, let's quit goofing off and get back to our projects with the chairs. Now the average guy would just carry these chairs to the garage, but what I figure is the average guy doesn't own it. Well, just looking over the chairs, they need to be sanded. The only structural damage I need to fix is these places at the end of the rocker here that have been chewed up by dogs. Okay, so let's fix these chewed off places first. You saw me there grinding, and I noticed while I was grinding that the wood on this side is different than the wood on this side, and realized that I had fixed this chair some years ago. These chairs are 11 years old. I remember buying them. I don't remember fixing it, but I remember buying them. And as part of that repair, looks like this seat back here was cracked. Looks like I glued it together and then put some little carriage bolts through it to hold. Well, it's coming back to me now. Same time I was fixing the rocker on this one, on this other chair, I shortened the legs. I don't know if you can see it, but this rocker here has shorter legs on it. It looks like one of my joints failed. Look at this. And that's the reason I know I did it with dowels, because look, there's the dowel. It's a big one too. Surprise, surprise, I got this left side rocker buffed up a little bit, and I checked the right side, and surprise, surprise, it has come loose also. So I guess sorry I'd be cocky, but you need to be honest too. And the honesty part is that the only thing that's failed on this chair is my repair. Your Honor, I'd like to present Exhibit A. It looks like that Memphis character 6 or 7 years ago, stuck this thing together with construction adhesive. In my case, rest. Or construction adhesive. Didn't they have glue back then? I wish I had made videos back then, because I'd definitely look this one up and find out what the mystery is, because I must have had some reason. Maybe in a few years I'll be wondering why I did this too. But I'm gonna glue this thing together with epoxy. The reason I say I might be asking myself why I did it is because this will be very difficult to get out if I ever have to. More like impossible. Now just pound these things in place. I got it glued up. I put some epoxy and sawdust filler in some of the cracks too. I'll let this set up for a while, and then I'll sand the whole chair. At least part of this rocker seems to be made from oak. Let's put some paint remover on this thing and see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves into. Still haven't figured out what kind of wood it is. It looks like it's made from 2 or 3 different kinds of wood. Anyway, we need to get rolling. Let's get to sanding that other chair. As you can see, I've taken these chairs down to the bare wood in most places. I thought this was important because over the years I've painted these things at least a couple of times and had pretty considerable paint buildup. Well, let's knock off the chatter and get to painting. Well, I got the first coat of paint on it. What I think I'll do is let this paint dry overnight so it gets nice and hard. Leave my fans going. And then tomorrow I'll sand out any runs and put the final coat on. I didn't have the runs in the paint that I thought I was going to have, but no, we put that paint on in hot weather, and it did get a little rough in places. So I'm going to hit it with some fine grit paper and then put another coat on. Just about drum roll time. Well, that'll do it for another Memphis Monday. Here we are back where we started. We got our chalk tray built. The planer parts won't be in for another 5 or 6 days, so I'm not going to be able to do that. Maybe we can make that an update next week. We solved the gate mystery, and we overhauled those deck rockers. Came out pretty good. Some of the paint was drying before it hit the chairs, and it's kind of rough. But anyway, I think we got our money's worth, and really enjoyed having you today. And I guess that's all. Nope, one more thing. Make sure you are back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for watching.